Hello everybody, today we're making a pattern in the style of a kente cloth, which is an African textile or fabric design with geometric shapes and the African colors, which are red, black, and green in the African flag. Several flags in Africa have this. There's not one unified African flag, but there are many. So we generalize this as these three colors, red, black, and green. We might put that on a kufi hat, which is a round hat with these strips of color, or a pattern. But today we're making kind of a blanket, or think of it as a quilt with these geometric shapes. So we have rectangles, we have triangles put together as diamonds. We started with squares. We did have some strips of paper for accents and to make it more exciting to look at. This is fun and really easy to do if you get in the habit of just cutting shapes and applying them and thinking about this line, this line, this line, these segments. And then you might echo this pattern right here and just flip a color. So it's fun and it's kind of a game to do this if you put it together. Let's start with a small one. I have scissors, I have glue, and I have a manila paper as a background. So it would be really easy to just put this here and say, well, okay, I have half red and then I could do half green, right? And then I might be done with that. Well, not so fast. I need to build this up with other colors too. So let's use other colors. Maybe today I'm gonna start with this and this. And then I have what looks like a flag from another country altogether. So I wanted to show you real quick how we glue to a background. Instead of holding it up in the air and getting it on yourself or making a mess or anything like that, please glue the edges of the background paper, and this is a manila paper today, and it's a great paper for gluing things to. You want to straighten it up, make sure it's nice on there, pressed on, hold it for a little bit, but then do also kind of push it down, make sure it goes where it needs to. Now, I did get glue on my hands and then that transferred onto here, but that's okay. So again, I'm gluing this edge, and then I'm gonna start cutting shapes and playing with the pattern. And we're just gonna organically, or just without planning too much, just make patterns with shapes. We are making a kente cloth type of quilt. And this does go with that story that you read about Africa in ELA, Mama Mitzi. And so that's why we're doing this today, for a little bit of reflection and a little more understanding about your reading subject matter. And then, you know, to fill it out, to make it, you know, interesting and relevant to your life. It's nice to make something from that culture so you understand it a little more deeply. That's what we're going for at Frontier. So I like this leaf shape, and I could just put it into a pattern, break it up into 4 sections, and I think I'll have some left over. Now I could put a black leaf and that would look neat, but this creates its own kind of rhythm to it. Now I have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I have those left over. I'm going to cut some triangles with this. Maybe some rectangles would be great. And so I have this sheet of printed out squares, triangles, and circles. And then this is something we could practice cutting. And I also have other shape cutout papers for practice, but we are working with rectangles. We're using an oval shape, which today is our leaf. I just decided to use that as a natural motif, organic. And I'm gonna use triangles, rectangles, probably not many circles, but That's what we're doing so far. So I have this. I was telling you I'm going to cut triangles, so here we go. I've folded my paper because I want more than one. I'm going to get 4 out of this, so I want to cut up to the middle and past, and then right to that corner and through, and these are pretty even. So I could put these, they look like a playhead wheel, don't they? But this will be great for what we're doing. If you hear voices coming through, we're having some electricians still in the building, and sorry that's bleeding through on our video, but we're gonna do our best with this. So this is interesting to look at if you can see the top and the bottom. I know I want to involve more green into this part here, but let's glue these on. So I only need that much glue right on there. Edge that. Little bit of glue on this. And then that's pretty good. I want them to be the same direction, and hopefully they're facing the same way, and it looks like a mirror image on that side, and that will be interesting. If it's off, it will look more random and not so much like a pattern, just like we put shapes on it. So we do have to think about the order or where we put things. Sliding this over, holding these things down, and then I have these big triangles left over, which this would work really nice for here, but then I'm excluding some black, so I want to make sure, do I want to put, yeah, I do want it here because I want green to be here somewhere. And that works like that also. So I think we're planning, here we go. And putting this here right up against that edge, that helps me measure where middle is, and I look at how thick that is, that line to that line. So pulling this, I might cut a diamond shape for this because that would be great to overlap. I'm not sure that this works unless I put it here, and that might be interesting. I'm just gonna set it there for now and see what it looks like. I'm planning. Now, I do need more green, and I could use a square because I haven't used a square yet, and that would be a little different. And so I cut right up on this fold, and then it's split apart, and I have to look with my eyes and kind of measure. Well, there's a square. Well, now something fun to do would be to put it diagonal, right? And then that would fill up the space and look pretty good. So if you don't have red, black, green paper, I understand. What might be best if you're working at home on this is to color your pattern. So you don't have to have colored paper to make a pattern. You know, you can draw one. You trace the shapes maybe. Like if you have something square you can trace, like a little box. Or you could freehand draw those if you take your time and make them look good. And this will be pretty interesting. It's not a picture so much, it's more of a pattern, but it is considered art, and it is craft to be able to cut out all your shapes, and that's an important thing about what we do in the art room, is practice how to do things. Now, I still want to dress this up. I'm looking at it and going, you know, this is great, but it could have something else. This yellow would be great to reintroduce into it. And I could cut it into a leaf pattern, and that would kind of solidify the whole thing. So cutting this oval type shape, it's a leaf. I want it to be the same on both sides, so one's gonna go here and one's gonna go here. I've got to press down my things so they stay. And I'm liking this. It needs a little more activity or more shape, more detail, something to it. This is fine, but if it could be better, then let's go for that. Could I do this? Yes, I could. That'd be fine. Well, I don't want to, though. I think I'll cut a diamond, just a small diamond, and put it right here to juxtapose the black and the color. And so there you have it. That is another version of a kente cloth pattern. It's an African type of artwork, like a quilt or a blanket. It's geometric patterns. And if we work on a big piece, you can do a lot more with it. You can change things a lot. But keep in mind, this pattern, if I put it next to another, it creates something pretty amazing. And this is what we're looking for. We're changing these things out. We're moving things around. We're playing with paper and shapes. And this is our assignment today, making patterns with African colors. And I hope you've enjoyed doing this. If you're online, take a picture of your work, turn it in, show me what you did. Hope you've enjoyed, using all these shapes and these colors, red, black, green, and I added yellow for a little bit of pop and visual appeal. You can use any kind of shape that you want in this, but I stick to those triangles, rectangles, and squares. And then I had leaf shapes for round shapes in there. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you.